Hello and welcome back to our tutorial on building a basic web page for our website. In the last tutorial we went over a doc type for the top of our page and why it's important to include that. We also learned about the H2 header tag and including the title also in the body of our page and why it's nice to do that. And we also learned about the paragraph tag and writing a message on our page. We learned how to open our page in the browser even if we're not on the internet. We also discussed validating our page through the W3 org, and a couple of things that I want to emphasize in this tutorial is that for one, I got this wrong here, so we need to correct that. That's not the same as the title in my page, so we'll correct that. Sorry about that. The next thing is that whenever you are authoring, what we're basically doing here is we're authoring a web page. And anytime that you're authoring a web page, it's important, as I mentioned in the last tutorial, to always include a doc type at the top of the page. If you'll remember, we went to the validator service and we uploaded my web page, and there was some errors there. So I did a little bit of research to find out what the error was causing, and basically the way I understand it is whenever you're authoring a web page, whenever a computer renders a web page or saves a file, there's two different aspects to that working. And so whenever a browser opens your web page, it looks to the doc type to see if there's any extra necessary tools or rendering specifications that it needs to implement in order to display the content of your web page correctly. And so then whenever a computer saves your document, a computer works through something called bits, and so whenever it saves, say, a character like this W here, if it saves it within the memory part of your computer, it really doesn't save it as a character W. It saves it as a number. And this is not exactly what the W is represented in a numerical form. This is just an example. But when the computer saves this web page, it's not saving it as the characters my first web page. It's actually taking each one of these characters and assigning a number to it. It could be 0023, or it could be 056, whatever number that the computer has been designated to save that W as, it would be saved as a number. So whenever your document is opened up into the browser, then the computer will know, well, 0023 is a W. So it takes this number and it changes it and displays it back onto your page as a W. So whenever I got the error yesterday, or in the last tutorial, we'll just go back over here to our web browser. For the validation. And we're going to upload this file again so that we can see that error. Well, actually it told me it was tentatively passed and that I had 2 warnings. And I had noticed that the encoding UTF-8 was here. And so, like I said, I did some research, and there's actually an extra information that you need to include in the heading of your web page, so that whenever you're page is rendered maybe in another country, or whenever your document is saved on the computer, it saves it, this W or this F, it saves it the way it's supposed to be saved, so that when it pulls it out of memory and displays it again, you don't get some type of weird characters. I'm sure you've seen some web pages, when they're displayed, they have just weird looking characters, and you really can't make any sense out of it. And it's probably because that web page did not include something called the meta tag. And the meta tag looks like this. And I'll just kind of go over what's in that meta tag. Now, if you're not familiar with computers, don't let this intimidate you. It's pretty much just a line of code that you want to include just after the head tag and before the title tag, that enables the computer, wherever the computer that's saving your page, will know how to open this page and display it correctly using the right characters. The HTTP equivalent content type just lets the computer that's rendering your page know that this is a content type page. And then the content is equal to text in HTML. And the character set UTF-8, it's a set of characters that have been established for the English language, and it allows the computer to know that for the most part everything on your web page can be saved through the UTF-8 numbering system. There is a UTF-16-16 and a UTF-32, and while I'm not real familiar with what's within those catalogs, I have included a file for you to locate that information on the internet if you want to study that more in depth. However, for this tutorial, it's important to always remember that no matter what web page you're authoring, to always include this meta tag just after the head tag, so that you're making sure that once someone visits your website, whatever server you have your website on, that server's computer will render your page the next time correctly. Okay, so I have my doc type in place above my HTML tag, and I also have my meta tag in place just below the opening head tag. So let's go ahead and save that, and now we can check the validation service to see if we've cleared up any of those errors that we had. And the reason I'm doing this is I want you to learn the enjoyment of validating your page, and there's a reason for that, and I'll show you in just a moment. So now we're going to check the page after we've included the meta tag. We still have a warning. Go ahead and go back and upload our page just to make sure. Okay, there we go. The document has passed. It says this document was successfully checked as HTML4 transitional, and it's passed. There's no errors there. The wonderful thing about your document passing through the validation service is whenever someone is visiting your web page, you can include this I like to call it like a little award or badge that just says, look, I think it's important to make sure that my page is rendered correctly, and that when I'm authoring my web page, it's important to me to make sure that it's within the standards of the W3 org. And so you can take and highlight this code here and copy it. Just right click copy. Go into your web page and just paste that into your page and save it. And what that does is that allows your page to show whoever's looking at your page that this is important to you and that you have validated it with the validator, and that it passed. So there's our web page. We have all the correct headings and tags needed in our web page with all our opening and closing tags. It's been validated, and we have our little award here that allows people to know that it's important for us to keep our web pages according to standard. And that's pretty much going to cover this tutorial. I hope I haven't made it seem complicating. It's really not. You just want to make sure to include those two things in your header of your page, so that for one, the doc type, you're making sure that the browser's aware of what's within your document. Like if you have movies or forms that will help anybody with disabilities, the browser will know what to pull in to help render your page correctly and to be more user-friendly. And then your meta tag here allows the computer, wherever the server is that's hosting your website, to save your pages and then render them back to the browser the next time someone clicks on your website, and displays all of your characters correctly, so you don't get those really funny looking little squares and characters that just seems like gibberish. Also, we learned how to validate our page, and we learned how to see whether our page passed, and we got our little award and placed that within our page, and that allows people to recognize that it is important for us to keep our web page within the standards of the W3 org. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next tutorial.